Hey y'all, it's Jason with Guardhouse Devotions. I'm gonna try this one more time. I, I got tongue tied and I got sidetracked on the first go round. A lot of people would say that's the devil playing with you and all that. That might be so, but I'm gonna go with a different view on it. God didn't like what I was saying, so he got me to change course and reevaluate and go forward. I'll put this down for a second. Sit back a little bit, more relaxed while my dog walks or sits on the step. I hope you can hear me. I got my earbud in. I've heard a lot of people talking about day ones. A lot of day ones again. I know there's a song called Day One. And it's when a person falls and temptation leads to sin, and sin leads to death. Conviction of the heart and all. And we go in many different directions on that one. Now, the key point of all that is, in James, it tells you that if you go that road, it takes you that way. And you lean into temptation, temptation is going to have her full effect. Just like that woman, that adulterous woman in Proverbs. She's going to catch that young man by the hand and walk him right on in like a lamb to slaughter. Most guys my age can say they've been that way. Whether it be led to the buffet for extra food, led to you put anything in there. I mean, I know there's things you can't say on TikTok or YouTube anymore. So if you know that it leads you from God and puts a gap in between you and Him, that is a sin. Because sin is the separation from you and God. That causes all of us to fall. Now, when you fall, you can fall like everybody else and you can hit the ground and you can stay there. Most unbelievers do. But if you're a believer in God, that proverb says you fall 6 times, you get up one more time. Or you fall 7, you get up one more time. I know there's a post on Facebook that says it's a Japanese proverb or Chinese proverb, but that ain't it. Wiki, hush. That's my dog. And just like I'm trying to restrain my dog, getting ahead of myself, but the Japanese, Chinese proverb says, you fall 6, get up 7. And it says author unknown. You look at it on Facebook or something like that, that's what it says. Truth of it is, it was wrote by Solomon. It's been around a long time. And they don't want to give credit to the Bible. That's my belief on it. But just as I'm trying to restrain this here puppy dog, we got to restrain ourselves. And I know there's somebody out there that's going to say, well, Jason, that's a lot easier said than it is done. And that is true. Because we don't have this nice little button right here that stops us from running to the end of our rope and but trying to let our alligator mouth bite off a little bit more than our chihuahua body can do when it comes to seeing. And trust me, I got an alligator mouth and a chihuahua body when it comes to that. I bite off more than I can chew, and a lot of times I got to pick up the pieces whenever it comes. Most of us are like that, if we're being honest. But you know, that little bit of conviction you feel after you do what you know you're not supposed to do. That little nagging thing that says you shouldn't have done that, you should have did this, you should have done that. A lot of people say that's the devil nagging at you. No, I ain't gonna say it ain't. What if it's the Holy Spirit sitting there trying to convict you and say, you know, this was a test to show you just how much you can be trusted with. And even though you fumbled in your flesh. You didn't fumble into the spirit because you didn't even get there. I know it's not exactly the most encouraging message, but think about it. If the Holy Spirit sitting there saying, hey, you did the best you could in your flesh, but next time, instead of using your flesh, use me, the Holy Spirit. Call on Him when that temptation hits you. Whether the temptation is pie, pizza, watching certain type of videos, listening to certain types of music that leads you, that opens that door that leads you astray. That starts that ball rolling, that gets you to get to that cliff where, sin like Leonidas kicks you into that chasm. Before you get to that point, call on, you call on the Holy Spirit, you call on God, you call on Jesus, you call on all three. Let's be honest, you need all three. All three are one, but you just still need all three. And I got to work on that as much as everybody else does. I'm not telling you something that I ain't going to try to do myself. Because Lord knows I ain't perfect. I broke my fair share of saucers. And I broke a lot of buffets too. But let's be mindful and let's call on Him wherever that temptation hits. And you stay there, and I need to stay there until the temptation passes. Whether it means you leave your phone in the car, on the table, leave that extra plate at the buffet line, leave that YouTube video reel alone, which one it is for you, because there's 1,001 that gets us all, and some of them we share, some of them we don't. But let's start leaning on God and less on our flesh. That's just my thought for today. Hope it helps.